Hello and welcome, I'm Raziel. So today I want to cover the movement phase in games. Now, it sounds like a weird thing to talk about, and it kind of is, but it shows very much so how Games Workshop overcomplicates manners. Okay? And just to clarify, I researched on this video just for the movement phase, by the way. So I didn't go deep dive into rulebooks, just the movement phase. I read The Horus Heresy, Wildest Extras, Armored Clash, Conquest First Blood, and Kings of War. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Every one, except Games Workshop, was very simple. If you wish to move, you move your allotted measurement. Be it called speed, movement, quick, whatever. That is how far you move. It's in inches, and that's it. Very simple. Some had a bit of addendum, such as Kings of War. If you want to move backwards or sideways, it's half your movement. Fair enough. If you want to pivot on the spot, that doesn't take up a movement. If something's big and bulky, like in Wildest Exodus and Armored Clash, you have to use the turn measurement, which is a little thing you get in it, like a quarter of a circle, and it basically has notches for your movement. So you can move 5 notches for 5 inches, sort of thing, to turn. It makes sense. These models are big, they're bulky, they can't quite turn on the spot, unless you're having a bit of a fun game and go, I'm just going to turn that on the spot. Is that okay? But like, sorry, whatever. But you know what I mean. It's very, very simple stuff. It's very basic. It's nothing worth writing home about. There is some differences, like in Armored Clash and Conquest First Blood, you cannot move into combat with, and same with Kings of War, you cannot move into combat unless it's a charge move or a ramming move or something like that. While Rest Exodus says yes, you can move into combat, and that makes it automatically engaged into combat. See, like I said, it's very simple stuff. This is just the movement phase, okay? And even in Kings of War, this is one of the things I wanted to point out. If a unit doesn't move, it doesn't move. It says it's okay. It says if this model doesn't move, it's got the halt order. It hasn't moved. Again, it's very simple. You can declare it's halted if you wish, but if you don't, it's halted. It's very simple. You don't have to declare it. Games Workshop, on the other hand, wants to complicate things on the movement phase. And for them, I read the Horus Heresy. I wanted to do the cool rules for 40k, but when you have to update or FAQ or errata the movement phase, I'm not reading that rule set. It's just stupid. And they just overcomplicate everything. Rather than saying, right, rather than just saying you can move up to a movement phase, right? There's almost 3 pages on just the movement phase. Okay? There's a basic movement. Move your inches, right? Fair enough. It cannot move more. We know this. And it's so ridiculously stupid. I might try to read some out, because this is the problem that I'm getting with Games Workshop and their games. I'm saying other games are better because they are better, and I want to show you. Anyway, and here we go. It's perfect, right? It is perfectly fine to measure. This is from the Horus Heresy rulebook, by the way, so I'm not even going to ad-lib anything. I'm going to read it word verbatim. It is perfectly fine to measure a unit's move in one direction and decide to move it somewhere else or not at all. As they are moved, the models in the unit can be turned to face any direction, but if a model does move, no part of its base can finish the move more than its total distance allowed to move that turn from the point from where it started in the movement phase. Why is that even in there? Why is that rule? Why does that even have to be? No one else clarifies that. No one. Those 4 books, not one of them clarified, oh, you're not allowed to move more. We know. That's literally what you move. That's just overcomplicating things. Then you got which models are moving. If you got a unit of 10 and you said, right, like you want to only move 5, they all move unless you say these 5 aren't moving. Almost just out of politeness, your opponent will go, oh, did they move? No, these didn't move. Or, I didn't see them move. Yeah, but no, they didn't move. You know? That's just politeness. If they see they didn't move and they go, oh, you didn't declare it not moving, you're playing against someone who's a bit of a div and wants to make a horrible game out of it. Very much that. But having to declare models don't move is just a waste of time. Again, it just overcomplicates madness. But then again, I'm probably just nitpicking that. But here is where it gets really ridiculous. Running. All the other ones, if you wish to run, it's double your movement. Okay? You cannot do anything else. You can't shoot. Very simple. The only exception, once again, is pretty much World of Exodus, given the sort of game it is. Running. It says at the start, this is right at the start, like I said, I'm not going to change anything. In order to maximize their potential movement, models can forego the chance to making a shooting attack in the turn's shooting phase in order to increase the maximum movement distance. Right? That's what it says at the start. Next paragraph starts with, however, a unit that runs may not make shooting attacks of any kind during the following shooting phase. That's in the next paragraph. It goes from saying, by the way, you can't shoot, or did you forget? Is your brain so slow that you forgot that you cannot shoot? That's just overcomplicating something for no reason. Okay? And then it's pivoting. Every other one, pivot. You turn on the spot, right? You turn on the spot. Okay? You cannot turn on the spot if it moves within 1 inch. If you're turning on the spot, you're not moving in any direction. You're just twisting. It's based on a vertical axis and a turn on that. You're not moving. So how are you going to end up within 1 inch of a enemy model? So, like I said, this just shows you just how complicated Games Workshop makes it. That's just the turn phase. I actually had a longer video from this, but honestly, reading all the rules just seemed a bit counterintuitive when, 4 books pretty much say the same thing, and the one that decides to make things more difficult than anything else, being Games Workshop, has to be different. And see, this is what I mean by when I say Games Workshop games aren't the best. Now, the reason I said I chose Horus Heresy because of the FAQ for 40k. Now, the other reason I chose Horus Heresy because it's one of the least broken games. I didn't say it's not broken, I said it's the least broken that I've played. And the fact the rules for movement are just so sloppily written, it just shows you just how badly Games Workshop rules writers are. And the irony is, I'm just going to clear this up because I think the irony is Kings of War, is written by Matthew James, Daniel King, Chris Morris, Jason Moorman, and Jeffrey Swan. And it's based on the original rules by Games Workshop alum Alessia Ray Calvator. Anyway, so yeah, Games Workshop rules have fallen so far that this is just the movement phase. And now, if you want me to go into the shooting phase next, I'm quite happy to do that. I'm trying to make a little series out of this. Actually, I think I will do a shooting phase next, and I'll see you all in the next one. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and understand why Games Workshop's rules suck. Thank you. If you wish to save money on your wargaming, and Whaling Games does cover all these games, if you wish to get any of them, down below, up to 20% off and free delivery after £20. There's also Forbidden Planet for comics, DVDs, etc. All that cool geeky stuff. There's my cool geeky merchandise as well, t-shirts, comics as well. If you really want to personally support the channel, that would be the best way, in my opinion. There's also Skyforge, good friend of mine. Let's get him up that Google algorithm. And finally, there is Patreon, because business. Bye-bye.